All right, folks, it is time for the TWiP Pro photo critique. We're on episode number 125 today.
Wow.
Yeah, 120. I think I got it right, Troy. The topic for this week was books and pages, or books or pages, depending on what your creativity currents took you or where they took you. Troy, we were talking before we started recording, and there are a couple of there's a lot of good shots in there, but we may have to pick two winners today. What do you think?
There's so many good ones in here. And I got to thinking, we've got our nitpicks and
Mm-hmm.
we've got the community's favorite, right? And the community picks their favorite kind of based on the hearts and the likes that they give each photo. So, we at least need to give a shout out to that.
What do you mean? What is this? A democracy? Come on. this is not. This is not a democracy. So,
This is true.
well,
I did say
what
we
would
made
be well, a monarchy is one ruler, right? And then if there's two rulers, well, we're not really rulers. We're just part of the community. We're custodians. we're, like, we're the custodiocracy or something. I don't know.
right,
Yeah, I think
right.
that's a good idea. Yeah, I think actually I do. All jokes aside, I do think letting the community kind of drive the picks to some degree, like a community, community favorite versus judges favorite. Sometimes they'll overlap, sometimes they won't. So yeah, I think that's a good idea.
Right, right, right.
Yeah, cool.
Exactly.
So anything, what's going on with you before we get this thing started?
Just kind of hanging out and working on F64 Live and practicing with all this tech, all this streaming tech you and I've been playing with, trying to get it all dialed in. So all those things.
Yeah, it's crazy, right? I mean, it's a never-ending journey of a very expensive Rubik's cube, is what it feels like. Right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And as I told you before, I'm currently connected with my Nikon Z7, which is a bit of an overkill for a webcam because the other camera is sitting in the bag. I haven't had a chance to hook it up yet. So, and we're on
Yeah, it's
battery.
like killing a bug with a stick of dynamite is what you're
Yeah,
doing.
yeah, exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. So,
Well, cool. Well, let's dive in. I'm excited to start talking about these. Let me go ahead and share that screen. Here we go. All right. Inside the TWiP Pro community, that first up, last in, is Jim Peters. Let's take a look at this one. Calls this one bedtime story. Looks like a portrait of you and I don't know. This is me explaining some streaming thing to Troy Miller, and you finally got it. Look at the expression on your face.
and look, your left foot hand is like you're all tense, like you're really upset that I'm not getting it.
Exactly.
I'm not paying
I'm
attention.
about to foot punch you, man. You better get it.
Your right arm is around my neck, and you're like, listen.
Like, listen, it's HD. It's not 4K. It's 1080. That's what it was. No, that's awesome. So what do you think of the shot?
I love the shot. It's very creative. I don't know the book, so I don't know if there's like some hidden meaning there. I do feel that the comedic end of it and the quality of the presentation is nice. What I'm challenged by is the light in the background falling on the chair. It's so bright and it's competing with my subject. So I feel like a better quality of light would be nice.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Softer
yeah, I
softer
agree.
light. Some scrimming or using a gobo or something to block the light so it doesn't fall on the couch or the chair in the background.
I wonder if punching in a little bit would make a shot like this stronger. I mean, it's a whimsical shot to begin with, right? So it's all in fun. But I wonder if punching in a little closer, like
Possibly.
kind of like that, kind of like that. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, I think any image really benefits from quality of light. A softer light or a harder light where it needs to be, proper vignetting, proper light fall off. Everything's nice and sharp from the book. all the way to the back, which is nice. So we don't have any soft spots where we don't need them. So that's all there. The technical issues are there. I just think it's more of a lighting issue for me. And you could probably do this in just burning it down, burn that background down, the foreground, in camera left on the pad there. That would
Hmm.
really help a lot.
Are you able to? You're the Capture One expert of the group. Are you able to say target the color ranges of the chair and bring those down without sort of doing a more analog selection around them? That might leave telltale sort of tracks that you were there. Can you like just target those purples and oranges or whatever and just drop them all down?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it would work really well to use like a luminosity mask in
Hmm.
combination with picking the color. Some of the similar colors are within the center of the image, and you'd have to erase those. But yeah,
Yeah.
you could definitely do a lot with that.
Yeah, so you'd start with a mask, and it would pick up some of the hairs on the dolls in the foreground, but then you just erase those and to let it target where you want. Okay, cool. Yeah,
Absolutely.
and if you did crop this, you'd want to be careful not to crop off your toes because you spend so much time in those toenails painting them black. So you don't, and that's not easy with those thumbs of yours, man. That's awesome.
Oh man,
That's a
Jim, what are you
fun
trying
shot.
to say?
He's trying to start it. He's starting it.
Telling
All
us.
right. Next shot is from Armando. Thanks, Jim, for that. Armando says, I really like taking street photos, but I try to avoid exposing people in vexing or fragile conditions as much as possible. But in this case, I couldn't resist. Book title Unravel the Human Mind. Look at that.
And I think you're still zoomed in, by the way, on your browser.
Am I? No, I'm not.
Okay, yeah, it
I think
wasn't
I
going
see
to
it.
go. Such an interesting image. I love the fact that in the description that he tells us what the title of the book is, because that was immediately what I started to look up. So it's just such a telling story. What a great street shot. He's smoking a pipe. You get a little bit of the smoke from the pipe. He's kind of chilling there, and he's reading this very intellectual book. Um,
Yeah.
this is a gentleman that needs to be interviewed, at least spoken with, right? Like,
Yeah, for sure.
that's
What do
yeah.
you like on the photo itself? I agree with you. Say, yeah, this is a cool shot. I thought you were gonna say something about his feet or legs being cut off, which don't bother me, but I know you're afflicted with that OCD thing. So, but and then also the line coming out of the book that's a little bit distracting. I may have cloned that out or something just to not or otherwise de-emphasized it. Do you agree, or is it fine like that?
It depends on what you're going to do with it. I mean, if you're going to hang this in an art gallery where you can do whatever you want to the image, yeah, I would probably clean that background up a little bit, take
Hmm.
out that line. But if this was photojournalistic, then of course not, right? Then you leave it. The feet doesn't really bother me because I don't really see his feet. They're hidden
Yeah.
they're hidden under that material. If he had bare feet and his toes were cut off, then I would have issue with that. But right now, head and knees and book are very centered and has a really good balance. And even the play of the shadows on the foreground and around his feet are wonderful. So I'm good with that. Yeah, it doesn't bother me.
That's cool. Yeah, and because there's words in the scene, it draws you in to read those words, and then you look at his face, and then when you're in his face, you see the pipe and the beanie, and then then yeah, that's cool. Then you start trying to figure out what's going on here. Is that a garbage bag in the foreground? And yeah, so it tells
Yeah.
it tells a nice story.
Yeah, this is a wonderful story. And I'm so glad that the light is coming in and striking his face the way that it is. If I was to do anything to this image, I would burn down the fabric on his, I'm going to say it's like on his knees or his shin, camera left, that's pretty bright, and then
Hmm.
try to make sure that the light on his face or in the center there around the book and his face is really where the draw is, where the brightest area is.
Yeah. Yep. I agree. I agree. Bring it up a little bit.
Yeah,
Cool.
yeah.
All right,
Awesome.
Armando. Armando strikes again. All right. Next shot is from Lamb. Lamb says, open mind to get in touch with the world or lag behind. Shot with his Nikon.
That is great.
I'm trying to figure this out. What's going on in that picture? That's freaking me out. It looks like my brain. A
No, it's
locked mind can shut out a world of opportunities. Yes. Yeah, that is so true, right? That is so true.
yep, yep. And what really gets me about this image is I want to look at the other titles. Like some of the titles I can read, Almost Buddhist, The Plot to Get Bill Gates. Like I'm wondering, like there's so much storytelling just in the other titles of the books, which I really
Mm-hmm.
love. I think that's a really nice add to the cover shot of this image, right? As opposed to this image sitting by itself on a coffee table.
Yeah. Yeah.
So uh,
What are your thoughts on the vignetting application?
I think the vignette's a little bit heavy, a little too heavy for me. I would like to, be able to see the edges a little bit more. I think anytime vignetting is obvious, it's too much. Well, not anytime, for the most part, and I think it's too heavy here for me. Um,
Yeah.
the dark room tech in me is like, ooh, take that back, take that down a little bit. Let's see a little detail in the corners.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. Get another blank sheet of paper and reduce that vignetting time, right?
Right, right. But now I want to look this book up. I want to see what it's all about. I might even buy it on Audible. I have it written down on my sticky note.
Oh, cool. Well, yeah, well, let me know if you find it. Or let us know. Let the community know. Cool. All right.
I
Thank
like
you,
the black.
Lamb. All right, there's my thing. And then Nora Zanotness is up. Nora says, under the covers, I remember reading at night under the covers with a flashlight. Took a bit to get the right balance of light and shadow. Another Nikonista. Nikon D750. Where are these Nikons coming from, man?
I don't know, man. There's a lot of Nikons in here.
Yeah,
Um, I love this shot. This
me
is
too.
this. It's so timeless, and it feels really good. And what I didn't catch right away is I thought this was taken from the outside viewer's point of view, like looking into somebody maybe laying in bed or whatever. But in reality, if you look at the words on the book, this is the reader's perspective. So I really appreciate that. That's really great. It's like me, like I'm hidden, there's my flashlight, and I'm reading the book.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
very well
yeah. That
done.
was me. That was me. Uh, I want to say Thursday nights when I was a kid. Thursday nights after I had gone on my paper route collecting from all my customers. And then I'd go get my money order from 7-Eleven from my manager, and I would use my money to go buy licorice, Twizzlers specifically, and comic books. And if I had enough money, I'd go to the magic store and buy magic tricks. But then I'd take the comic books home, get under the covers with the flashlight because the light had to go off at a certain time. So I'd be under the covers with the flashlight, reading Spider Man or Iron Man normally. So
Oh,
yeah,
comic books. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. I
love it,
was
love it.
reading C.S. Lewis, and the Chronicles of Narnia and Piers Anthony, the Chronicles of Xanth, anything
Oh,
kind of weird fantasy.
yeah, yeah. Yeah. Iron Man was attainable because he's just the dude that had a lot of money and a cool suit, right? And then Spider
Right.
Man was a nerd like me, right? So I identified with those characters.
That's
All
awesome.
right. Next shot up. Thank you, Nora. Mark Harris is up next. Mark Harris says, for the books critique, an unusual, independent, in this case, used bookstore. Like in the window, there are books piled up everywhere to the point that it's hard to see what is on the shelves. I go in periodically to browse. I once bought a 1905 book about photography there, which included information on the proper use of flash powder. Wow. Another Nikon, by the way.
I think the oldest book I have was like 1896 or something like that, photography books. Um,
Yeah.
I love old bookstores, and I just know that if Kira and I were walking through a town somewhere and we saw this window, we would be in there, regardless of what
Yeah.
else was going on. We're going in that store.
There's
So,
always treasures in there. Always treasures.
and it
Yeah.
smells
Isn't that
amazing.
cool? What flash powder? He said A book on flash powder. I think that'd be a good challenge, right? Could you find flash powder? And I wonder if you were like, imagine if you showed up at some event as a photojournalist, maybe taking pictures of a politician or something. Everyone else is shooting with their high tech supercomputer cameras. You show up there with a tray full of gunpowder. You're
Uh,
like, okay, please don't move for 10 seconds while I get this shot.
right, and then set up all the smoke alarms and
Oh yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah, and the Secret Service and everybody else would be after you.
yeah.
Yeah,
I
this is
I
cool.
love.
So, oh, go ahead.
Oh no, I was gonna say I love the image. I feel sad for the books that are buried at the bottom in the window, in kind of fallen in there, because I do love books so much. But what really strikes me about this is I wish we didn't have the bookstore sign in there. And I know,
Yeah.
I kind of know what you were doing, Mark. I get it, but I think that this is one of those images that just crop it square, equal spacing
Yes.
around that frame, and just leave it. Let
Yep.
the imagination run wild.
Yep. That's exactly what I was gonna say. I was gonna say It's already. You don't need to tell us that it's a bookstore because we already know because we're looking at the window, or we can infer that by the number of books in there and the hours open sign in the lower right. So we know it's a store, and they probably sell books, or they'll say have a marketing issue. Um, and then the other thing is, yeah, the window is full of squares, right? It's a square with 4 squares inside of it, so the frame feels like it wants to be square and sort of equidistant around the border with bricks, right? So I think that'd be a much stronger shot because we don't really need to see the chin quote of the photograph and the street or the sidewalk there. Those pixels don't do anything for us. Neither does the bookstore sign. But
Right.
squaring it up would make it a much stronger image, I think.
Oh yeah, yeah. And actually I could see this, in like sort of like a quad type image where you could even take each individual section, and make it its own image. And at the end, you show all four of them together in this square. So basically 4 squares, and I'm sorry, 5 squares. The first 4 squares is each section of this window. And then the last image is all four of them together showing, oh, this was one actual image. I just
For
think
sure.
there's you could do with this.
Yeah, yeah, that'd be cool. Cool. Awesome. I thought about that. I was looking at going through these last night, and I thought about that's the first thing that hit me is this wants to be square. It wants to be square. It's
I
hip to
know.
be square, man. It's hip.
It's
Michael Rhino is up next. Michael Rhino says, my entry for literature, our dog is thinking this Ansel guy has some really incredible work. What the heck? Is this a conspiracy? What is going What is going on with the Nikon Brigade this week? What
I
is
don't.
going on?
They're turning up. They're turning
Yeah.
up.
Yeah. This is cool. This looks like a painting. I love it. What do you think?
I dig it. I actually have that book too, so I like that. I do think, and it's a I'm just gonna pick on you a little bit here, Michael, that Ansel would have shot this in black and white. So I'm just saying, like this could be black and white, But with with that said, I love the story of your dog reading the book, and the book that you picked, and the quality of the image and the lighting. The quality of lighting on this is really fantastic.
Mm.
I do wish the background was a little bit softer. I think it's a little bit, well, it's not in focus, right? But I do believe it's just a little bit too sharp. I'd like it to be a little softer, which would give me a sense of distance. But great lighting in the eyes, great lighting on the book, good
When you
book
say
choice.
softer, you mean slightly out of focus, right?
Yeah, and I know that having looked at the thread that this background has been masked out or whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
At least the book part of it has. So I just feel like that background is too sharp and too close to the back of the subject, and the way to give it a sense of depth is to try to get that background a little bit softer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like it. I'm just looking at the dog's eyes. He's just looking. He's just
Like,
looking longingly.
can I have my treat now?
Exactly. Okay, is this the shot, Dad? Can I get that thing you promised me?
Beautiful Doberman Shepherd, though. Beautiful dog.
Yeah, yeah.
Love those
Very cool.
colors.
All right. Thank you, Michael Rhino, for that. And the next shot up is from Craig Stampley. He says, Night at the Opera from 2008. Finally, a different camera than a Nikon, a Sony Ericsson. I don't even know what this is. A Sony Ericsson K800i? What is that? That's crazy.
That's pre-cameras. That's pre-digital cameras.
Yeah, it came with a hammer and chisel to like create the image.
Yeah. Yeah. So neat. There's so much going on in here. I love the fact that there's notes underneath the book.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah, down here. Yeah. On that little sheet.
I do think there's a lot of space. There's a lot of stuff that we don't need in this image. Cropping up the left and right side, and even across the top. Those diagonal lines. We really can't see what they are in
Yeah.
this image. To me, they're just distracting. So I would take that out. Probably convert this to black and white to give it more of that timeless sense, because the color balance on the paper and the book itself, they're kind of competing. It's like more like a cool tone, and I think we
Yep.
could go more with a neutral tone, and maybe black and white or a soft sepia or something like that. I think would do a lot better for storytelling.
Yeah, I agree with the sepia. I was gonna say that, and yeah, the border, the darkness around the edge. Just I like we always say, right? Most photographers that we've been talking to in the community know that like the brighter area of the image draws you in first, and you want to see it, and then if there are words in that bright area, your brain wants to decipher them to see what's going on in the image. The border, there's more border space around the light space in the image than there is actual the notes and the books and stuff. So, and then we get lost out there in that sort of abyss off to the side of the image. So, yeah, I agree with you. Crop in a little bit or crop in a lot, and either or make the story about the stuff that's around the book, and bring that up a little bit so we know what's going on back there. So that it relates easier and we can know what's going on. My brain is having trouble putting a story together as to what's happening in this image. I can kind of guess and make an inference that it's a score and it's a musician practicing and making notes on that piece of paper behind, and that's
Hmm.
some sort of apparatus around the edge. But it gets frustrating because you're like your brain hits a roadblock. It's like I have no idea. I don't know what's going on. Yeah. So
Right, right, right. It's just like you said, just removing some of the details that we don't need, and let us just focus in on the center of that story, which is the book. Which I love the concept of this. This is great. This is so great.
yep, yep, very cool. Stampley, thank you, sir. All right, Craig Colvin's up next. And Craig's getting political on us. He says, losing my religion. While there is some debate, many people agree that the Bible is literature. Part of a series that unfortunately got interrupted when I lost my studio. The one bright side of COVID is there are plenty of studio space available. There will be in the coming months. I'll be able to find a new one. He shot this with his Canon 5D Mark III. Look at that. What did he say the name? Was this losing? Yeah, losing my religion.
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah. It's a great image. I really dig the image. There's a lot to look at. Um, right off the bat, I wonder, what is that picture in there for? And because it's the brightest element in the image, it doesn't really have a story, right? Like if
Mm-hmm.
that was like a wine carafe and there was a glass of wine there, or a glass of
Yeah.
water,
Mm-hmm.
maybe that was like a water pitcher. It feels disjointed to me, and maybe that was Craig's intention, was to add that disjointedness. But because it is the brightest thing in the image, it draws my eye immediately to that. So, and then the only other thing is, I think it needs to be cropped tighter. I've been playing.
Lose some of the abyss. Yeah.
Yeah, if we crop right to the bottom of the chair, and keep the exact same format, I think it's a better crop. We can still see the lamp and the top of the lamp. We can see the story, and it really draws me in, and I'm much more into the image. I can see her face better. I can read the words on the book better. Um, so just a little bit tighter, but not much. Not much.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. I agree. Lovely concept though. I like the concept, and that you hit it right on the head. That's what I was thinking. My notes are the picture. What's the significance of the picture? And if this was an illustration that was intended to be accompanied by words, right? That explained it all, then it'd be one thing, right? But on its own, we're left to wonder what's the picture, what is the picture's significance in there, and if this is to be a standalone image, then the picture, yeah, like you said, it should be something else, like a flower or wine or something like that, or even a little bit of contrasting color to pop out of there if it's significant to the intent of the story. So like if it was a flower, like a red rose against all of these sort of muted colors would be
Right.
really interesting. So
Right. Right. And just two other points. The lower left corner of the tablecloth is been clearly masked there, and it's kind of obvious that we've had some Photoshop work done there. And then the gown that she's wearing, there's a blue tone on the back side, which tells me that there's other light coming into this scene. And if she was just in a room with a incandescent light bulb, just a single incandescent light bulb, the back of her gown would go dark and it would be warm. It would be even warmer. So the mix of color there is a little bit disjointing for me. I think that you got to get the tones more balanced. I think it would be better for storytelling.
Yeah, the blue tone on the back of her dress could be, I'm reaching, but yeah, the warm light from this, tungsten bulb above her, and then this would be outdoor light from a window that that's shining on her back. So that could be an explanation for it.
Yeah, yeah,
But cool.
yeah.
Love the concept. Love the concept. Love the face of horror reading the Holy Bible.
What do you
Wait,
mean?
what? Wait. Wait, you did what? That's awesome. All right. Next shot is from you, Mr. Troy Miller. Troy says, photographed this in an old barn that was an automotive repair shop for a while. Shot with another Nikon D3 and only edited in Capture One Pro 20. Let's take a look. So, latest version of Capture One. All right.
Yeah.
Explain yourself.
I was out with a friend, and we're just cruising around in one of our local areas, and there was this barn off in this field. We went into the barn, there's all this cool stuff in there, and this book was laying exactly where it is. And I just took a couple pics of it. I didn't actually spend much time photographing it, which makes me sad now because there's so much potential in that image. But this was like a Chilton's automotive book just laying there.
Oh.
And so I felt sad that the book was left there but at the same time, but it told so much. The bolts that are in the lower left corner, those are probably held to vice at some point. So I thought, I'm going to leave that in there. So.
Yeah, that Chilton's book. Yeah, it reminds me the bunched upness of these pages reminds me of a lot of frustration that you're trying to fix something with one of those Chilton's manuals and you can't figure it out, or you got the wrong tools, or you can't reach that bolt, or you strip a bolt. That's what that reminds me of. And you've thrown the book across the room a couple of times.
And I used to own a speed shop, so I used to build hot rods and I used to build custom motors and things like that. So I spent a lot of time in these books figuring things out. So it spoke to me, and I just loved it. So, and this is one of those images from like 2008. I don't remember, but I've just always remembered that I liked it. It's always popped up. I always see it. So I thought that'd be a good book.
That. It's a good memory. I wish it said Chilton's in here somewhere. It just reminds me of like back in the day when I had my first car, which needed work and had no money. So the path of least resistance was get a Chilton's manual for that model car and head to the junkyard to buy the parts you need.
Yeah. Spend more time off the old cars than putting them back on your car.
You got it, yeah. Or if you had a little money, you're at the auto supply shop buying brand new parts.
Yeah,
That's cool. Cool shot, man. I love it. Well, how did you put the border on here?
I did that in Capture One. And
you could do borders in Capture One? I didn't know you could do that.
Yeah.
I know you could do it. I mean, you have mastery over the pixels, but there's no like library of borders in there that you could slap on. You had to do this manually, right?
I did. Yeah. I actually have a video on my Spicy Jello YouTube channel how to do that. But you're basically using the brush and drawing a straight line and then changing the blending mode. So you're just masking in straight lines all the way around. And then you just change the blending mode and the brightness and contrast, and it creates these really weird muted borders. Yeah, it's awesome. I just love it.
That's cool. Post the link to that in the post on TWiP PRO for this, so
Oh,
we can
okay.
see that.
Yeah.
Very cool. Good job, Troy Miller. All right, and last but not least, Peter Levshin. I got to talk to Peter. I opened that box he sent over. He's got some goodies in there. I need that.
Oh, yeah.
Some of them need some explanation. Sony A7R2 and infrared. Peter, who got Peter started on infrared? I wonder.
I
Yeah.
I even know the image, the exact image that I showed Peter that made him go walk across the room and order 2 cameras to be converted to infrared. That I showed him.
Peter?
Yeah.
No, he's not impulsive buying stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Well, what are your thoughts on this shot? Well, first of all, yeah, it fits into the topic for this critique, but it's also an infrared. Does the infrared help it or hurt it? And does it tell a story? What do you think?
I don't think the infrared really helps or hurts this. I do think that the infrared, well, maybe it does help it a little bit looking at her skin. I know this model, and she's a gorgeous model, and she's wonderful to work with. But this gives a luminosity to her skin. This is lit by window light, so that infrared light is going to come in, and as we've discussed in some of the TWiP community, is that infrared light is more illuminating internally, and that's what you kind of see in the skin tone. That's why the skins tend to go light. So I do think that it's bringing some brightness into the skin. I love the music sheets that are being thrown around. It almost feels like we should have done like a theme around music, because Craig and had that. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
But I dig it. I'm not a big fan of the background that she's sitting on. I feel like it's been masked kind of weird, without a lot of purpose, right? And it just that part of it really doesn't work for me. I would almost prefer that it have a floor or no floor.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, because your brain is trying to figure out what's happening down there.
Right.
So no comments on the amputated arm?
I don't need to say it. It's cut off at the elbow. You know, everybody knows. You don't even have to know. It feels uncomfortable. It's just, it's a bad place to crop.
Peter, look at that. Cool shot,
Yeah.
though. It's interesting. Yeah, aside from the amputation and like the background, I think if we had lost this whatever that is back there, and just had her floating in the abyss of black, maybe with some more papers or something back there, it would have been stronger.
Yeah, and I mean, I know where this was photographed, and a lot of the intention on a set like this is to replace the background and create more of a composite-y kind of thing. So that's kind of why that floor is the way that it is. It's meant to be taken out. So
yeah, yep, cool, very nice, very nice.
Good shot.
All right, we got some work to do, man. So let's look at the comments, the number of comments on these. So starting from the top, we've got the heart. Sorry, yeah. So 3,
yeah,
10, 8, 10. We got 2 10s. Stampley's at 11. 16 for Colvin. 15 for Miller. You don't count.
I don't count. I know.
15 for Peter. All right, so it looks like it's between Peter, Craig, and Craig, right? Yeah. Peter, Craig, and Craig.
And out of all these images, my favorite is actually Armando's. But it's good to know that, you know, who got what likes basically within the community. So Craig deserves a big shout out for that.
All right, folks, in the chat, in the live chat, since you showed up live, why don't you guys let us know what your favorite is in here, and you know, we'll make sure that one gets attention on the blog post for this when I publish it in about an hour and a half or 2 hours. So
just wait.
What do you think,
guys? We're live. Take your time.
Just finish your sandwich. It's no big deal. I think I'm a fan of Armando's as well. I think I like that one. I
Yeah,
think
I
I'm
think
a
what I
big
love.
fan of that one. I like, you know what? I like Nora's too. This one, like it just brings me back to the comic books, and hiding under the sheets and reading, and trying not to get in trouble. I like that one a lot.
This is true. This is true. I'm gonna let you choose. I'm gonna support whatever you choose because I like them both. I like them all. There's a lot of really good ones in here. So
Yeah, but this one, I like that one. All right, Jim Peters. We got one vote. Jim Peters says Armando's. Yeah, look at that. Hey, you could vote for yourself. Yeah, let's bring up Armando's again real quick. Craig
yeah,
Stampley says Armando's or Nora's. Michael DeRay says Craig. Let's bring up Armando's. Here's Armando's.
they all you guys all pick somebody different.
Yeah, I love it. See, that's a community. Yeah, it looks like everyone's saying Armando's for the most part.
Yeah, I love that. I love that.
Yeah, that one's kind of cool. I like that.
You're all
All right.
winners.
Yeah, everyone's a winner. Everyone's a winner. Cool. All right, so we will go with Armando Brook as this week's favorite. And you and I thought that at the beginning, right? So,
It,
yep. Yep, very good. So we're all in alignment. Cool.
yeah. Yeah. Now, just like on a competition, sometimes you get judges pick, like, you pick the winners and then you have a judge's choice. So, what would be your judge's choice?
Yeah. Yeah. Armando just chimed in. This is what Armando said here. Wait. Wait. Oh, I lost it. Wait, here we go. he says, sorry, I vote for me. Of course. Why not? That's like, come on. How you gonna be in an election and then vote for your competition? You gotta vote for yourself.
Gosh.
Cool. All right. The world says Armando. Congratulations, man. Well done. As Craig Stampley says, well done, Armando.
Yeah.
All right. So, what's our next topic? You want to pick, or shall I pick?
Okay, I have an idea. I wrote it down ahead of time, so let's see if it's any good. Looking up.
Looking up.
Yeah.
You care to elaborate on that, or you want to leave it ambiguous intentionally?
If you walk outside and you look up, no matter where you are, there's a scene that we often don't recognize, right? Whether you're looking through trees or you're out shooting the Milky Way, or just this, or seeing airplanes or birds flying over. It's often a scene that we don't look at. And I just thought that, maybe that was a little bit obscure, but very, creative opportunities.
I like it. I like it. Looking up, because the other way to interpret that would be looking up, meaning optimism, right? Things are looking up.
There,
So,
I didn't think of that.
that's where my brain went. Looking up, because we're. Yeah. But I like it. I like it. You're just specifically for this. I mean, you could interpret looking up however you want as an artist, right? So, but I like the idea of having the different perspective of looking up, and instead of the normal perspective of adults is somewhere between 4 and 7 feet,
Right.
looking straight ahead. That's the normal human perspective. Whenever you break out of that, you start getting interesting photos, like pet's eye view, kid's eye view, top down, looking up. Yeah. So yeah, let's try looking up and see what we get.
Yeah,
Cool.
yeah. We look down a lot because I actually thought about that. But we walk around, we look where we step and things like that. And there's been a lot of cat photos. Alicia's new feline that she's got, and I often wondered, like, what are they? How big is the world to our pets? Right? They're always looking up, so they see the world always from a lower perspective. I thought that could be a really cool perspective. So anyway,
Yeah,
that's where it
yeah,
came
I
from.
like that. Yeah, well, prepare for some Milky Way shots, I think. So- so- but with that, technically, I guess technically everything's looking up. Is if you look straight forward off of a globe, there is no up and down, left and right in space, right? It's all technically up. I don't know.
I think up
I'm
is
nerding
relative
out.
to gravity, right? Like if there's gravity, there's an up.
But whose gravity? Because apparently we're rotating around a supermassive black hole. So is that direction up, or the opposite of where the black hole is up? I don't know.
Well, since we're not on a globe, we're on a disc. Everything
That's right. That's right. We are on a spinning saucer with something around the edge. Hey,
It's
don't be crapping on people's beliefs, man. Come on, what's the matter with you?
on the back of a turtle. That's
Oh, don't get me started. That'll be a whole new show. Yep. And Craig Stanley chimes in. Of course, he thinks the Earth is flat because down in Australia, he's on the underside of the plate, right? So, yeah, I understand. You guys don't get any sun down there, right? Craig, how does that work? All right, man. Well, cool. So next week, the topic is looking up, and yeah, this should be interesting. I'm excited to see what folks come up with. Cool. All right. That's it. That's the end of this critique. We're about 40 minutes in. Any final thoughts you want to share before we press the end stream button?
Get out there and shoot. Be safe and have a good time. Enjoy your day.
Oh, see, that was the perfect T-ball setup for you. You were supposed to say, "Get out there and shoot, and keep looking up."
No, it's cliche.
Come on. The world is built on cliches. Come on. All right, folks. Well, thanks everybody for coming in and hanging out in the live stream. This is really good. I'm glad we started doing these live. It's much more fun with all of our friends in here interacting with us in the chat and making choices for us. So I like that. I think we'll make that a regular theme where the community helps guide the decision of the favorite, so it's not so binarily subjective, right? So let's mix it up a little bit.
Yeah, at least a definite shout out to who gets the most loves, the most love on the community, because that's definitely a big thing too. Yeah, it's a great community. So
I agree. And before we end the stream, I need some thumbs up from the community on this video on YouTube. Click that thumbs up button for us so we could get some love from the YouTube algorithm. Not that we really need it that much, because these are generally supposed to be for the community anyway, but at least it helps the channel a little bit. So yeah, click the thumbs up button so that we could get a little bit of love out of whatever math goes on in behind the scenes at YouTube that no one will ever know.
done.
Cool. All right, folks. Thanks a lot. Thanks again to everyone who submitted images for this one. And congratulations to Armando Brook once again. We gotta tally up how many Armando has taken away. We might have to, put some limiters on him, some ankle weights. Like Armando, you can participate, but you can only shoot, with one hand or with one specific lens or something. We need some restrictives. Yeah, a bunch of people in the community need restrictions like that. All right, well, cool. Well, we'll end it right there. Thanks, everyone, for joining us, and we will see you in the next live stream, which will be a week from today for the Looking Up critique.
Yep.
See you later. Peace.
Great. Take care, guys.
All right, we're ending the stream.